The Bible and the New Testament particularly, and the teaching of Jesus and Paul, is all about the kingdom of God. If you haven't defined the kingdom of God, you haven't clearly grasped the gospel. So then Jesus speaks in terms of parables all the time. These are farmers and fishermen, many of them he spoke to. They knew what plowing looked like. They knew that they had to plow in order to sow seed and to reap a harvest. So the Christian life is the same thing. You start by getting behind the plow and beginning to plow. But if having done that, you look back, then you're not fit for the kingdom of God. Translation is a little bit more than this. In the Greek, doesn't matter. The idea is there. Nobody who sets out to be a Christian, that's to say, by repenting and believing in the gospel of the kingdom, Mark 1:14 and 15, that's where you start. If you start, you're beginning to plow and you're looking for a harvest at the end. However, if having started you look back and you retract from your commitment of obedience to the gospel of the kingdom in Mark 1:14, 15, then you're no good for the kingdom. You've got to persist to the end through much tribulation. I'm giving you now Acts 14:22. Through much tribulation, we are destined to enter the kingdom. The entrance into the kingdom is your end goal. That's what you're aiming at. That's the harvest at the end of the age, when you're going to get immortality from Jesus. So this is not a small deal. You're dealing with death and life here. If you want immortality, you're going to have to be deadly serious about it. So looking back, against the doctrine, the very false doctrine of once saved, always saved, which the Bible contradicts on practically every page. It's no good saying, well, I've accepted Jesus, whatever that means. It's a bit vague anyway. And it wouldn't matter what I do, but I'll still succeed and go to heaven. People say, well, first of all, going to heaven is nothing whatsoever to do with what Jesus taught. He always promises the earth as our inheritance. So you've got you mustn't only begin by believing in the gospel of the kingdom, Mark 1:14, 15, but you've got to then persist through your life. And maybe you'll die before the second coming. Maybe the second coming will be before you die. It doesn't matter. You've got to continue to the end. Otherwise, you're not going to be saved.